Hey, FreedomFlicker fam. Welcome back to the channel where we dive into the issues shaping our liberties. Today, we're tackling a hot topic, President Trump's executive orders on voter ID and mail-in voting. Are these moves to secure our elections, or are they restricting our right to vote? We're breaking it all down. Stick around for the full scoop. In March 2025, Trump signed an order requiring proof of citizenship to register to vote. Then, in August, he announced plans for another order mandating voter ID for every vote and limiting mail-in ballots. These changes could reshape how we vote in America, but they're sparking major debate. Let's dive into what's happening, why it matters, and what it means for our freedom. Before we start, hit that like button, subscribe, and ring the bell so you never miss a video. Let's get into it. Let's set the stage. On March 25th, 2025, President Trump signed an executive order called Preserving and Protecting the Integrity of American Elections. It requires voters to show proof of U.S. citizenship, like a passport or real ID, to register for federal elections. It also says mail-in ballots must be received by Election Day, and states that don't comply could lose federal funding. That's a big deal. Fast forward to August 30th, 2025. Trump took to Truth Social, announcing plans for another executive order. This one would mandate voter ID for every vote, no exceptions, and limit mail-in voting to only the seriously ill and military personnel overseas. Oh, and he wants to ditch electronic voting machines for paper ballots only. These orders build on Trump's long-standing claims that the 2020 election was stolen due to fraud, especially through mail-in voting. He's pointed to countries like India and Brazil, which use biometric voter ID, as models for the U.S. But here's the catch. The Constitution gives states and Congress, not the president, the power to regulate elections. So, what's driving these orders, and why are they so controversial? Let's break it down. Supporters of Trump's orders say they're all about election integrity. The argument goes like this. Requiring voter ID and limiting mail-in voting prevents fraud and ensures only eligible citizens vote. Trump's team points out that countries like Germany and Canada use paper ballots and strict rules to keep elections secure, and they want the U.S. to follow suit. A Gallup poll from 2024 found 84% of Americans support voter ID requirements, and 83% back proof of citizenship for registration. That's a strong public mandate. Supporters argue that IDs are already needed for things like driving or flying, so why not voting? They also claim mail-in ballots are vulnerable to tampering, especially when counted after Election Day. Trump's White House has said these orders are about restoring trust in elections. They argue that non-citizen voting, though rare, is a real issue, and federal databases can help states clean up voter rolls. Plus, paper ballots and hand counting could reduce disputes over machine errors. For many, this is about making sure every vote counts and only legal votes. Now let's look at the other side. Critics, including groups like the ACLU and Brennan Center, say these orders could disenfranchise millions of eligible voters. The March order requires documents like a passport, but only about half of Americans have one. The Brennan Center estimates 21.3 million citizens don't have easy access to proof of citizenship, especially younger people, minorities, and low-income voters. Voting rights advocates argue that non-citizen voting is already illegal, with harsh penalties, and studies show it's extremely rare. They say these orders create unnecessary barriers, especially for groups like married women whose names on IDs might not match their voter records. And limiting mail-in voting? That could hit rural voters, the elderly, and disabled folks hard. Then there's the legal issue. The Constitution gives states and Congress authority over elections, not the president. A federal judge already blocked parts of the March order in June 2025, calling it an overreach. Critics warn that these rules could disrupt state election systems and cost millions to implement, with no clear funding plan. So, can Trump actually do this? Legally, it's shaky. The Constitution says states control the times, places, and manner of elections, and Congress can step in. Presidents don't have direct authority to change voting rules. The March order was already partially blocked by a federal judge, and the August plan will likely face lawsuits too. Practically, these orders could cause chaos. States like California, where most voters use mail-in ballots, could lose federal funding if they don't comply. But changing systems like switching to paper ballots or requiring new IDs takes time and money. With the 2026 midterms looming, election officials say it's a logistical nightmare. There's also the question of enforcement. Trump's orders rely on federal agencies like Homeland Security sharing data to verify citizenship. But states run elections differently. 36 requires some form of ID, 14 don't. Forcing a one-size-fits-all rule could disrupt voting in places like Oregon, where mail-in voting is standard. The public is divided. Supporters, especially Republicans, see this as a win for election security. On X, posts from Trump's base cheer the orders, saying they'll stop cheating. But others, including Democrats and independents, worry about voter suppression. Hashtags like #VoterID and #ElectionIntegrity are trending, with heated debates on both sides. Looking ahead, the 2026 midterms will be a test. If courts uphold these orders, voting could look very different. If they're struck down, Trump may push Congress for laws like the SAVE Act, which mirrors his goals. Either way, this fight is far from over. It's shaping up to be a defining issue for our democracy. What do you think? Are these orders protecting freedom or restricting it? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I'm reading every one. That's the breakdown of Trump's voter ID and mail-in voting orders. Whether you see them as safeguarding democracy or threatening it, one thing's clear. Our right to vote is at the heart of our freedom. Stay informed, get involved, and let your voice be heard. If you like this deep dive, give us a thumbs up, share this video, and subscribe to FreedomFlicker for more content on the issues that matter. Hit that bell so you never miss an update. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.